Welcome to the View from C Deck. I'm your host, Just Matt, joined today by Just Mike Green up in East Palestine, not that Palestine, not the one you're thinking of. And today we're going to be going through our movie Hall of Fame, our inaugural. First 25 in, then we're going to give you a chance to add 5, but let's get it going.
Cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
You ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
Oh, great. Thanks, Mother, for replacing the baby aspirin with LSD.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
All right. Well, let's get things started, and we're going to start out going with our 10 categories we came up with for our Hall of Fame here. Now, we decided that we needed to be able to spread out the love. Obviously, if you start a brand new movie Hall of Fame, you're going to be able to go with about 100 right off the bat that you're like, oh, yeah, that's obviously one. But we decided we need to mix it up a little bit, get different types of movies in there. So we created 10 categories. And first of all, our line in the sand for a Hall of Fame movie is if aliens came down here and said, what movie is good, or I'm going to exterminate the human race, this is what's going to come out of your mouth instantly. Something like this, something that is a no-brainer. Even though we all hate Skip Bayless, I agree with him on Hall of Fame stuff that it's not the Hall of Very Good, it's the Hall of Fame. So these are movies that you stake your life on, you stake the human race on. So our categories though were blockbuster movies. You know what that means. Soon you want to go see that in the theater for sure. It's got to happen in theater. Academy Award type movies. These are all movies that were Best Picture nominated at least, or had a Best Actor win or Supporting Actor win or something along those lines. Dramas, the kind of catch everything that's not in the Academy type movies, but are still more serious. War dramas, crime dramas, thrillers, things like that. Comedies, obviously self-explanatory. Anything that's going to make you piss your pants while you're sitting there rolling around in the aisle, making an ass of yourself at the theater. We did family movies, and that includes animated movies. So that's going to be quite a bit of things there. Then we have this. We made a nostalgia category, but it's really I consider it I'm going to watch this if it's on type thing. And that can be your guilty pleasures. Maybe these movies aren't the best movies. There's some plot holes. There's some pretty shitty acting. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but if it's on, you're watching it. Just call it the Nick Cage category. That's all it is right there. Then we have our all action or adventure from the start to the finish. You're going on a ride the whole movie. Not really much of a plot except for they're getting from A to B, and they're going to entertain the hell out of you while they do it. Then we have our scary shit category, things that are scary. It could be just horror, but I know if we just do horror and then I throw in something like Gothica, a bunch of horror fans are going to tell me that's not a horror movie. That's a thriller. And I'm like, well, I was scared, okay? So that's where we're going with that. Then we're going to we put superheroes all to themselves because there's so many movies now with the MCU and DCU and all the Batmans and the Supermans before that, all the Spider-Man movies before that. I mean, you're in a lot of movies, and surprisingly, the quality has been so high with all of them. You can pick a lot. And we did a little bit of a poll beforehand with some of our other contributors to this show, and there are a lot of superhero movies in those Hall of Fames. Probably part of our age demographic, but you know how it is. And then finally, our last category is just franchises as a whole. Movie franchises, trilogies, however you want to put it, groups of movies that are all must see. You got to watch the whole thing from beginning to end, or at least a big section of it, since a lot of them now have made so many sequels that they're not all top notch anymore. But that's what we're going for. So, Mike, where do you want to start us out at?
Oh, I think maybe we get the scary shit out of the way because not a huge fan. I went more thriller with my pick on the scary shit because
yeah, you did.
Not a big slasher guy, but I threw 7 out there as scary shit. More of a thriller, but
no doubt our Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah. Just like I said, put it in there. Not a big slasher horror movie kind of guy, but to me, that's got enough elements of it that it fit.
I like it. I went with Halloween, the original. Still scares me this day. It's like one of the only things that scares me. Not really scares, but I'll tell you, when I go watch a Halloween movie in the theaters, I'm always sitting there waiting for some dude in a freaking Michael Myers mask to wander on in there. And then I go, what do I do? What do I do if this guy comes in here? He might start stabbing me.
Yeah.
What if he came and sat down next to me? Then I might have to start stabbing him, even though I don't carry a knife around with me. But for ours, what do you think there? I'm thinking going with Halloween on this one because it's more of a traditional scary movie.
I agree on that. Like I said, I went a little off cuff on that one just because I'm not super versed in it because it's not my style. But I would concede to your Halloween pick on that.
Yeah, I've watched a lot. Like my wife is a horror movie fanatic, so I've watched a lot of horror movies over the past few years here, and it's still the one that gets me. It's the one that makes it. When I think of the scary shit, and with 7, this is why it's a good pick by you, though. It's stuff that sticks with you. You think about it later on.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Halloween still. When I was a kid, I'd look outside and it's dark. We lived on a cul-de-sac, and there's just like a meadow across the street from us. There was an unused lot. And I'm like, man, what if somebody's just standing out there in a Michael Myers mask? Like, what do I do? What do I do?
Under that one street light on the cul-de-sac, just in the shadows.
I mean, it's kind of funny if it wasn't like, maybe I'm going to shoot him. All right, let's move on to Blockbuster next. What do you have there for that?
I threw out the Empire Strikes Back. Big Star Wars guy, one of the original blockbusters, if not the original blockbusters. Like I said, huge Star Wars fan. Couldn't fit a lot of them in here as I would love to, but it's the best of the Star Wars and, in my opinion, best of the blockbusters. I mean, you had guys going to see, get out of the theater, go back, get in line, wait another 3 hours, and go see it again. So.
Yeah, and it has one of the most iconic lines ever.
Yes.
Your father.
Oh, yes. I mean, the one that made movies.
The plot twist to end all plot twists. Almost.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It's also a movie. Well, I'm a big fan of it. It's one where the bad guys kind of win at the end. I mean, you'll see that as we go through movies that I like. It gets you a little twist. I mean, they don't win, but they definitely win the battle in that. They don't win the war, but they win the battle in that movie.
Yeah.
It probably has the best lore, I think, of the Star Wars movies. Like going through when Luke's getting trained by Yoda, you actually start to really learn about the Force and kind of from a sci-fi perspective, it's got the most elements of sci-fi in it. When Luke's fighting himself in the cave, it turns out in it being him worried about becoming Darth Vader, even though he doesn't know at that point. That's his daddy. that could definitely happen. As you see with Mike and I, we're both huge Star Wars nerds in general. We went and saw all the new ones when they came out after we met each other. When the sequel trilogy began and after Disney bought them, we were there nice and early Sunday mornings when there wasn't a crowd and we didn't have to fight a bunch of real Star Wars nerds, I guess, people dressed up and all that just to get a seat.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for the last 2, we were there.
Yeah, we were. That's for a whole other podcast.
Spoiler alert for this podcast, not on the list.
we can delve into that at another podcast. But that's Disney. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship with them and Star Wars, I think. My blockbuster actually put down was Jurassic Park, but I think I'm leaning your way on this. But Jurassic Park to me is the ultimate, especially being from the 90s type. It's got everything. Huge special effects that still hold up today, big time. Yes. They're better than the new ones. The new ones stink to high heaven. The graphic, the CGI is horrible. They don't move well. It doesn't look real.
They need to get back to that balance of practical and CGI, in my opinion. I think Mandalorian's doing a great job with that, where if they can build something, they'll build it. I understand the volume is a whole different thing, but yeah, I'm with you. It still holds up, which, I mean, you'd say that about Empire too. They're both fantastic, effects movies that hold up to this day.
Well, we went and saw Empire when COVID was going on and they weren't releasing new movies. They put some of the old ones in it. I was like, I was blown away because obviously we didn't get to see that when it was in theaters back in the day for us. I saw Jurassic Park then too in theater for the first time during that time. It was pretty great. But yeah, I'm with you. I think I'll go with Empire Strikes Back. Star Wars kind of started the whole blockbuster movement in the summer releases and getting things out there for everybody to go take the date on when they have a lot of free time in the summertime. And when you think of blockbusters, I mean, Star Wars has raked it in money wise. There's only one other franchise that's done the same. We'll talk about them later, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move over to the Academy Award type movies. Now, you and I are going to argue. Both have this movie in the Hall of Fame. In this, but I think we're going to disagree on which category it goes in. But I'll go with mine first, though. I went with Forrest Gump for this. Another 90s movies for me, but it's a movie. It's hard to fit it into a category because it's dramedy in the biggest sense of the word. I think it's hilarious, but it's also super serious at times.
Yeah.
Obviously, Vietnam War, AIDS, just those things.
Covers some ground.
It does. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna cry if you have a soul at the end.
Yeah.
It's one I've noticed through our polling that the younger generation doesn't appreciate as much as us, and I don't know why that is.
That's a good question. I would say it's probably more to do with its dating, or it's getting dated. They're
That's
farther
true.
and farther removed from any of the things that had happened.
That's true.
The big things they got. Not that we were.
No, but our parents
were.
were.
Exactly. Like I think as the generations go on, it'll get that way. It'll separate the. You don't ever hear about any of the things that were in that movie.
True.
Not that you won't
Especially-
hear about them. You're going to hear about them in history class. I mean, shit, we watched that movie in history class every Friday. We had shortened periods.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right though. Especially with like Vietnam and Kennedy. I mean, like most of those kids, all of us, we heard from our parents. It's like 9/11 for us. They know where they were when Kennedy was shot. Their parents probably they weren't there. They weren't alive, so they don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're not talking about him like he was some sort of god running around. But I get it. But I don't know. It's one of those movies. It's one of those that I'll watch anytime it's on. You can always pick it up at any point, and you're going to enjoy it. I've read the book too. In case you want to check out the book, it's even better. It's a little darker, little more risque, and there's a pretty graphic sex scene with Jenny and Forrest. Jenny. And excellent acting from everybody in that movie. Lieutenant Diane, everybody.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yep. As far as my pick for the Academy, again, with the prerequisite of if it's on, I'm watching it. It's, I don't get too far into the Academy movies, but best supporting actor in this one, The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a big comic book kind of guy, you couldn't do the Joker, in my opinion, any better than Heath Ledger did it.
Mm-hmm.
And it put it at such a standard that's why I went with that on the Academy. I mean, is that still to this point the only superhero-ish type movie that got either best actor, best supporting, or
Joker?
It was at the time. Yeah, Joker. There's a trend here.
Yeah.
There's definitely a trend. But that's just why I put it in there. If that one's on, I'm watching it, and if it's on and I can fast forward, there'll be times I'll just jump to Joker scenes because it was that good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, damn good. But I have it in my Hall of Fame, but not in this category. I have it under our superhero one, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Again, me kind of blurring the lines a little bit to get everything in there that I wanted to, but this one I have no problem conceding to you as well. I have no arguments with Forrest Gump for a drama pick.
Yeah. I'd say the only other one I would have considered maybe for this, Shawshank, is kind of in everybody's. That was highly pulled for us.
Well, that's another one you turn on AMC and it's on. You're going to get sucked into it for the whole.
You're going to watch it.
Sure, however long
you're going to watch it till Andy crawls through the shit at the end.
Yep.
So we got a good lineup going right now. Let's go over to superhero movies then now, and jump over. And I had Dark Knight there.
Yeah.
And for me personally, Dark Knight's a top 5 all-time movie. Period.
Yeah.
It hits everything you'd want. You're gripped from the moment that window breaks at the beginning until everybody's chasing Batman at the end, and we're getting the hero we need and not the one we deserve, or deserve and don't need.
There's,
whatever.
There's great special feature on that about them picking out the music for the Joker and that opening, like slow violin and how they kind of got there. But that's exactly to your point. Like right out the gate, you're sucked into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Not too much more to cover. He's fantastic. Christian Bale, he's probably my favorite Dark Knight, my favorite Batman. I don't know. Keaton's good.
Keaton has the balance.
Keaton probably does.
Is always my thing with the Batman. Like even the new ones, good Batman. Shit Bruce Wayne, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You have to you gotta be able to do both.
Yeah.
But we'll see where they go with that. It's DCU though. I don't have my hopes.
Zero. It's one of those things people talk about how bad those movies are. I think a lot of people I've talked to when compiling this list think that Batman vs Superman is one of the worst movies ever made, and I'm like, I didn't like it, but my expectations were really low. So.
Well, I think I don't know the guy's name, but I think they stole somebody from Marvel, brought him over, and with all this Ezra Miller stuff going on, I think
they did
scrap everything yet again and redo, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That's again another podcast for another time.
Another time. We never get on these movies, man. All right.
My superhero, I went with Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing with Endgame is grew up watching those movies. For something that went over 10 years and 20 movies to pay off the way it did, I don't think you can do it any better.
You can't.
And that's what gets me with that, is that for as many times as we're let down going to the theaters, do Star Wars, whatever, I went into that one, was not disappointed at all. They tied everything together, nice little bow, ended it. Still, I mean, Cap tells them to assemble, and I still get chills to this day.
Insane. That's the highest.
Tony Stark funeral scene. I mean, Happy telling Luna that he's going to get her all the cheeseburgers he wants. Mm-hmm. I mean, it gets me every damn time. Yeah, for a superhero movie, I took my parents to see it. They're not invested in the MCU at all, especially the way I am.
I did too.
I said to my mom, like, you're going to cry at the end of this movie. She's like, I'm not going to cry on this. It's a stupid superhero movie. I don't care. Whatever. She was bawling like the rest of the theater. So those are my reasonings. It was the culmination of a long run.
It is. My only argument against it would be without the buildup from the other movies, especially without, I think Infinity War was what I put above it from the MCU, just because Endgame is so powerful because Infinity War happens. And again, I like it when the bad guys win a little bit. It just throws you off the scent. And you're like, I mean, my jaw dropped in the theater when the snap occurred. And I'm like, oh, he actually did it. Holy crap.
The blubbering from behind me in the theater when Spider-Man blew away was impressive. This is another one. I have no problem with your pick. I obviously had
we both had
Dark Knight on there somewhere. So if this is where it ends up, I am fine with that, because it is, like you said, it almost transcends superhero movie because it's just such a good movie by itself anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you have to have the context in Endgame almost for it to be as meaningful as it is. Whereas The Dark Knight, you don't need Batman Begins. You don't need really anything else with it. It can stand on its own.
Yeah.
So we'll go with Dark Knight on that one.
Okay. Well, we'll make up for it. We'll go to franchise. The franchise right now. Now, we both, when we started to make this list, I think both of us thought the other one would put Star Wars down for franchise. And my only argument against the MCU, it's the MCU. It's the MCU. It just is. It's the greatest start to finish collection. I mean,
this goes back to what I was just saying. Is you go 10 years and 20 movies,
like 23 or 4 before. I mean, I'm not counting the stuff post Endgame.
Yeah.
in this right now. I mean, it's there, but it's like the sequel trilogy for Star Wars. Doesn't really count now. But it was just the start to finish. I mean, there's duds in there. Thor 2 stinks. I've never seen the Ant-Man movies. I used you to just fill in the gaps.
Ant-Man's are good. If you like Paul Rudd, Ant-Man's fine.
Yeah.
But
what they accomplished. The only thing I would argue against it is like, should you have so many franchises within the franchise there? Like, is that the actual franchise or are they? But it is, and it overall
it's all because
it's all tied together.
Everything ties together. I mean, they got some. It's not quite tied together at this point in this new phase, but if we're going from Iron Man to Endgame, yes.
How sold are you on the new phase?
What I had texted you earlier, I think if they need to start using the series to tie the movies together, because there's the new phase of Marvel. You don't have your staples in it. Like everybody knew Iron Man. Like you could ask anybody, they knew who Captain America, Hulk.
Yeah.
But now you're getting into more outer space, deep space. There's a bunch of characters coming in that not everybody. They're not the household names.
Right.
So I think it's good where you use like a Miss Marvel series, or I haven't watched Moon Knight yet, but to set them up and then you can bring them into the movies. This is almost what DC should have done in the first place, because DC was so good on TV with Smallville, Arrow, even Flash. Why wouldn't you take these established characters that everybody loves in these shows, and then you don't have to force origin stories into,
right,
into your Justice League or whatever. Like they're already kind of together, just bring them in.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that's what they're going to do here, because you're going to need more backstory than what a 2-hour Captain America First Avenger movie can give you with these characters, because there's not enough just base knowledge known about them.
Yeah.
So personally, I think Star Wars can do the same thing at this point.
They can.
But,
we'll see. I have faith in Taika Waititi will have the next movie at least. Does he have a trilogy?
Have you seen the new Thor?
I have not yet. My faith might be shaken.
They went too funny. Like me personally, Thor had the best balance in Ragnarok.
Oh yeah, Ragnarok.
You got your funny moments, but he's still serious. He's a badass. He's a freaking god. For
Ragnarok's a Hall of Famer too, for sure. It's a great movie.
But this new one, it's kind of off the rails. Like they pump too much comedy into it. In my opinion, it's good. It's worth going to see in the theater visually and everything else.
Yeah.
But I think they're taking him off he's not serious enough for what he should be. But
all right.
Again, another pod for another day.
Okay, let's go with the other one that we agreed on. The only other one we had a total match was our action movie. Both had the Boogeyman, John Wick.
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga. What I love about it is the simplicity of it all. You hate the bad guys because they killed his effing dog.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
And like that goes back to that's all you need in an action movie. Get a badass pissed off and let him run loose on everybody.
Let him run loose.
It's like you said, perfect in its simplicity.
It's simple.
And the execution of it, like, Keanu trained like crazy for that, and you see it in the performance too. There's nothing in that movie that's kind of like, it's a little far fetched. Like, I mean, he's double tapping dudes that are laying on the floor, like boom headshot. Like you're not coming up behind me. Like it's perfect in its simplicity.
It's exactly how it should go down. They're right. The real, it's crazy action, but it's also real. It's also like realistically crazy action. It's Taken's about the only thing I can think of that kind of comes close to it. The first Taken, when you can still believe that Liam Neeson can actually kick somebody's ass and not need a walker to run, not need 50 camera cuts of him jumping a fence. But John Wick's perfect. The build up of him the John Leguizamo scene in the garage is fantastic. Get this car out. Get this out of my garage. You want to shoot me? Then shoot me. Do you know they're making a series about the Continental?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is
a prequel series.
That could be very good.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that, especially if they got Ian McShane to do it. Because
love Ian McShane.
I say I'll watch I'll watch anything.
If you haven't watched American Gods yet, he's good in American Gods.
Still haven't, but you know how it is.
Oh, I know.
Got kids now, man.
I've been catching up a little bit here at night. Haven't been gaming all that much, so.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. That's
Let's
about all
over,
you can say about John Wick.
Let's move over to drama, and man, this is gonna be a tough pick here. Actually,
this is gonna be a debate. I think.
This is gonna be a debate for sure.
This might be the first heated one.
All right, I'm starting with mine.
Go ahead.
This is my all-time favorite movie. It's Saving Private Ryan. It's the greatest war movie ever made. It's about the only movie that makes me cry that doesn't have anything to do with my past. Nobody in my family fought in the war. Both my grandpas did, but they didn't have. I didn't know the one that actually really saw active duty. So I don't have anybody like that in my life that like makes me think about it. But man, when he asks at the end of the movie, tell me asked his wife if he's been a good man. Just get you. And Tom Hanks at the end laying there. But obviously the opening scene is probably the greatest action scene ever made in a realistic way, besides maybe the battle in Endgame.
Yeah. But again, that's not, you have no historical accuracy with that. That didn't actually happen, which makes Saving Private Ryan that much more impressive.
Yeah. All the acting's good. Heck, Vin Diesel's even palatable in this movie, and I hate me some Vin Diesel. Sorry, Fast and Furious fans.
But his platoon's his family.
That's true. That's true. Guess, man, is that where he picked it up from? Is this all Tom Hanks' fault?
It is.
Maybe Hanks
Hanks loved too much. He sicked Vin Diesel on the rest of us.
Oh God. Damn you, Tom Hanks. All right. But yeah,
First time that line's ever been uttered ever.
Actually, recently I was watching. Oh God, what's the kid who basically f's up the whole movie? Can't remember his name in the movie, but the kid that's supposed to be a reporter and photographer and ends up getting thrown in their platoon and ends up being just a giant wuss and leads to his people getting allowing one of his guys to get killed. He's in a new movie though, and he's in Black Phone. Great movie, not your style. It's a horror movie, but it's more of a horror thriller type. It's a lot like It, in a lot of ways, and excellent movie though. You should see it. But he's in it, and he's a drunken dad. I was like, this is what became of him. This is what became of him. He's a big drunk at the end. At least that should be accurate. But I despised him in this movie. Oh my gosh! But you're supposed to think.
Yeah. My drama pick is Tombstone, and long movie, but that is one that I will sit and watch anytime it is on there. Val Kilmer is fantastic. Love Kurt Russell.
All-time performance from Val Kilmer there.
Yeah. I mean, that's up there with Heath Ledger. I mean, it's not. I don't know. Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell's good. I mean, it's a Western, like me some Western.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of backup talking points to it, so hopefully whoever's listening has just seen it and realizes how good it is.
Val Kilmer makes the movie because those scenes with him are all-time great.
He does.
He's obviously here. He is a learned man, is an educated man. Now I really hate him. Mr. Ringo here.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry. Kurt Russell for Kurt Russell. I mean, I'm not a huge Kurt Russell fan. I like a lot of his movies. Dude has good taste in movie and role choices, but he himself isn't all that great.
Speaking of Kurt Russell, The Thing was in my mind for a horror movie. That's a throwback, but
that's almost like a nostalgia one. I would feel like that's a big cult classic type. That's the type of movie I think of when I think of that. Tombstone, though, I love. It's probably in my top 10. Because you're right. It's one you watch whenever it's on. The shootouts are great. There's a lot of really good actors in it. Val Kilmer. It's an all. I mean, I was thinking about this. I was talking with Doug, our friend Doug, and he was he was somebody I was talking to about this stuff, and he was bringing up a couple of Val Kilmer movies that are lesser known. I'm like, man, Val Kilmer's good in everything.
Yeah. Shit, he was Batman.
Yeah, he was Batman too, and I didn't mind him as Batman.
He might be a top 3 Batman in my opinion.
Probably. Yeah,
Keaton,
I'd say
Bale,
I'll
Kilmer.
take him third.
Yeah,
George Clooney. George Clooney's last place for everything.
Yeah, pretty
George
much.
Clooney playing George Clooney. Yuck.
But that wasn't his call.
I'm gonna fight hard for Saving Private Ryan here because it's my favorite movie.
I can concede Private Ryan because there is less downtime in that movie. Now, I understand dramas, you tend to get a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
But for my typical movie preference, if you ask me which one we're going to go to the theater to see, I'll use this as my tiebreaker. It would be Saving Private Ryan.
Just for the opening scene. You gotta see that in theaters.
I mean, I kind of, my whole list was, what do I want to go see in the theater? If I can wait for it to be at home, that's a big tiebreaker for me on some of these. So I won't argue you too much. And again, I can't. Tombstone's just good.
It is. It's just a good movie.
It's really, like,
it's almost,
that's my argument for it.
It's almost what I put, like, because you're going to jump into it. But you're right. The beginning of Tombstone, before they really get to the town and settle down and take over as the sheriffs, does drag a bit.
Yeah.
That'd be my only argument with it.
But
we're going to have another argument, I think, in another one, but maybe not. I'll save that for the end. We'll go to the family movie now. Now, when I told you this, so I got 2 down for you right now, because when I told you about this list, we had the family movies and animated movies as 2 different categories. And I decided to just throw them all together. So you had both Greatest Showman for the family movie and then WALL-E as your animated movie. You got a choice between those 2?
Since it is technically family movie, my family's going to sit down and watch Greatest Showman over WALL-E. WALL-E is more of a personal preference than that's how I broke it.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah,
it's a good way of looking at it.
The family-friendly movie was, what can we sit down and all watch together? I like animated movies too much that I went selfishly on that one. And I love WALL-E. Just, again, it's almost in its simplicity. I mean, there's no verbal conversation in that movie for the first 2/3 of it, and all the points still get across. It's a new age silent movie for the good majority of it.
WALL-E is just scary accurate and is a dystopian movie. I'm not even sure I want to show it to my family.
Yeah.
I think my daughter might be growing up in that world.
By and large,
Uh,
aka Amazon.
Yes, Amazon. And man, look at the fatties around here. Hey, daddy's getting there.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Riding around in the car for work anymore, trying to not fast food the shit out of everything. But
that's impossible.
I'm hungry. It's lunch. I'm gonna run through here. But for family fun movie, I'm gonna stick with Greatest Showman. Because like I said, that if the 4 of us are gonna sit around, the kids are gonna dance and sing and have a good time with it. And the music's great.
Greatest soundtrack. Yeah, great soundtrack there. I mean, it's one of those movies that not super accurate and not super. I mean, but that's fine though. It's not supposed.
It's not supposed to be.
When people say that, I'm like, are you going for a historical drama here? Like, no. P.T. Barnum was a piece of crap. We know it. It doesn't matter. But this P.T. Barnum can sing, damn it.
Yeah.
And boy, it's a good looking man there, that Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, and that Zac Efron's dreamy too.
Ooh.
Zendaya's in it. Why are we talking about dudes?
Why not? Zendaya is in it, but Zendaya's got it going on. Now she's got Spider-Man and all kinds of other things. She's talented.
Good for that little nerd.
Yeah. Just took a break from social media, I hear. It's tough out there. Can't wait till we get bombarded by all 6 of the people that are going to listen to this.
and 2 of them are actually Facebook friends.
Yeah, and Doug's just gonna tell us how much we suck.
Yeah, well,
It's okay.
good for Doug. What'd you
All right.
have for that?
I had The Lion King, also a great soundtrack.
Yeah,
Obviously, growing up, that's a big one. I think it's the hands down best animated, but I'm actually leaning towards yours on this a little bit. I mean, I love Lion King, and
yeah,
it's an all timer, and it's a Hall of Famer for sure. And we're gonna put it in this time. I'm gonna make sure of that. But as far as like just a family movie though, Greatest Showman it's got it going on. I really like that. I listen to that soundtrack a lot.
yeah. No, it. Charlotte actually got into Phantom of the Opera. Like this was 2 years ago. So I got like a 5-year-old that's wanting to watch Phantom of the Opera.
That's
like,
that's my all-time favorite play to go see, for sure.
Yeah.
But the movie's good, but Gerard Butler's. See, it's more of a thing that happened afterwards. Now that he's like action star Gerard Butler, I can't take it. It's weird watching that.
It threw me for a loop because I didn't see it when it first came out. I watched it like retroactively, and I'm like, wait a minute, is that? Oh my god, it is.
Yeah. But yeah, Lion King. I mean, I think there's not much to say about it. It's just the all-time classic, and it's the all-time epitome of a Disney movie.
Yeah,
you got to kill the parents to make you feel sad, and
yeah,
we gotta bring everybody back and have great music. But every song on there is a good song, every single one of them.
Yeah.
But so is Greatest Showman. Besides, I don't care for the wife's song in it, whatever that is.
How what's your thoughts on Enchanto?
Love it.
Latest and newest, it's fantastic.
Love
Great
it.
music in that too. I don't think there's a bad song in that one.
No, there's not. I've sang the Dos Oruguitas song to my daughter to put her to sleep.
There you go.
I try to do it in Spanish for all you bilingual people up there. It's not bad. Your boy can't roll his R's, but other than that, it's okay.
Yeah, you're from Ohio. It's difficult.
It is difficult. It is difficult. Okay. So we're going to go with Greatest Showman on that one, I think. I'll concede to you on this one because we're going to put in Lion King eventually anyway. And I think you're right. This movie I went with my family too, and anybody who has ever watched it loves it. It gets hated on by people who just don't like musicals.
Yeah.
Cough, Jason. Cough. But if you actually go watch it, you're gonna like it. You're gonna have a good time. It's entertaining.
Yep. Yep.
Let's go with our guilty. I'm gonna save the best for last, I think. But we're gonna go with our guilty pleasures, nostalgia. If this is on TV, I'm gonna watch it. Movie. So I'm gonna let you hit me with yours first here.
I'm definitely leaning guilty pleasure on this more than nostalgia. If it was straight up nostalgia, Clue is right up there for me in this category.
Mm-hmm.
Clue is really good, but I gotta go with Smokey and the Bandit for a guilty pleasure. If it's on TV, I'm gonna sit there and watch it every damn time.
I'm assuming this is the old version, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Burt Reynolds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I've always loved it from the first time I saw it. Like you said, or like you preferenced, not a great movie, pretty shitty all in all, but I will sit there and I will watch it every time, and I'll feel guilty about it.
It's entertaining as hell, for sure. Not in my Hall of Fame, but it's entertaining as hell.
Well, it wouldn't be in my Hall of Fame if not for this category.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that.
Well, that's what this category was made for, though, is the type of movie that you're.
Yeah.
You know, like I said before, if aliens come down, what are you going to do? But this is one of those. I'm like
Burt Reynolds running away from.
Yeah. But I'm like, but what if this guy has a similar taste to me, and it's a Sunday afternoon, and I'm just trying to sleep one off. I think they might want that. I went with Home Alone in this one, and it's one of those that I think could have gone under just comedy because I know a lot of people love it. But I think also it's another one. If you ask the younger generation or people who didn't grow up around here, like my wife, they think it's stupid as hell. And there's a lot to the premise of this kid being able to basically kill two.
Oh yeah, you you want to look up a YouTube video, look up what actually would happen if the Home Alone injuries happened. It's hilarious. Kevin's got a kill count higher than John Wick, but
he does. He does. Hey, don't mess
I
with
have
that.
a lot of nostalgia for Home Alone 2, or not Home Alone 2, Home Alone.
One too, also a great movie though.
Well, yeah. But
Even more wild
like,
premise.
growing up, Dad and I didn't watch a lot of movies together, but this is when holiday season rolls around. We'd sit down, and he wasn't one to crack up and lose his shit watching a movie.
Mhm.
Even to this day, this one gets them. They get blasted with them paint cans, or they step on the Christmas ornaments. He loses it. Just loves the slapstick in it.
Marv screaming with the spider on his face. Oh my god, I wish I had recorded that for the soundboard. Why didn't I? I just thought about that. Oh, so stupid. But that is one of my go-tos whenever one of my sports teams does something terrible. I'll send that out.
Yep.
But it's an all-timer moment. Yeah, I will never not laugh at him screaming at that high pitch. He deserved an Oscar for that performance right there.
For the damage done to the vocal cords.
Oh my gosh! And then he had to do it again.
Oh yeah, the electrocution might have even almost topped it.
When he turns into the
is the duration of it.
Oh my gosh! I'm pushing for Home Alone on this one.
I can give you Home Alone on that.
Man, this is a good lineup. So we're sitting here. If you had a week where you're laid up, you got monkeypox, and you're laid up at home because you've been messing around with somebody you shouldn't have, Mike. I don't know. You're a dirty dog like that. You're gonna sit there. You're gonna knock down Forrest Gump, Empire Strikes Back, Saving Private Ryan, Greatest Showman, Home Alone, John Wick, original Halloween, maybe not you, Dark Knight, and then finish it off with the whole MCU franchise. That shouldn't take you very long.
See you in 2 months.
That's the second week. That's when you got COVID again. That's pretty good lineup. We have one more to go here for our original first time leaders of each category for our movie Hall of Fame for the view from C-Deck.
If anybody ever argues this one, you're wrong on so many levels.
Well, we have different ones that you put down here, bro. If you don't remember.
I thought we were doing comedy.
We are.
What did I put for comedy? Oh shit. Well,
look what you just did to yourself.
We'll discuss. But the more I think about it, I had yours down, and then I think I changed just for sake of argument. But we're going to talk about both of them.
I mean, I think that one, this is probably what you're feeling like right now.
Hey, I guess they're right. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose.
Yep.
Don't you go dying on me, Mike.
Only the essentials.
Yes. Dumb and Dumber is the funniest movie ever made. Fight me, anybody fight me if you want to about it. Everything in that movie is a joke. Yeah. The more you watch it, the more you just pick up on the jokes. Obviously, we're too young to have watched it when it originally came out and understood it, let alone actually watched it. Because I think I was 7 when it came out.
But that is the beauty of it, is because every rewatch you're not laughing as hard at a certain point, and you pick up something else.
Mm-hmm. Because
they truly are the dumbest sons of bitches alive. Everything they say is perfectly stupid.
It is. I mean, I quote it all the time still. You quote it all the time still.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of those things. Oh, my gosh. I mean, everything about just simple things like.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
And they did so much improv. I mean, Daniels and Jim Carrey both were phenomenal. It's so sad that they had to go and make another one, which I think makes the younger generation who doesn't understand this movie not understand it even more.
Yeah, because they probably went and saw that one and then retroactively either just quit on watching the first one or watched it and was like, yeah.
it's straight up slapstick. The
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah.
It's straight up slapstick.
We landed on the moon!
Who would meet in a bar at 9 a.m.? I just thought she was a raging alcoholic.
Mike, you had 2 pairs of gloves this entire time?
I'm gonna kill you, Lloyd.
Just the greatest movie. Now, what did you have, Mike, that you decided that you wanted to fight me about?
I have Blazing Saddles.
Hilarious. Also definitely a Hall of Famer, but go ahead.
It is, and it was hard for me to pick between Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs. Huge Mel Brooks person, loves spoofs, and you can't do spoofs any better than what Mel Brooks does. Blazing Saddles, obviously, anybody that's ever seen it, that movie will never be remade, nor could it be remade in today's climate.
No, it will not.
When we did our little I'm Moving Out double feature, I hadn't watched it in a while, and as we're sitting there, and it's the first 20 minutes of this movie, and we're like, well, they've made fun of this race, this race, this race, this religion. But I love it because it's in good fun, and it's what you should be able to do is laugh at each other. And we don't do that anymore. It's immediately offended. Like, you can't say that. Well, why? Just go away. if you don't like it, don't listen.
Yeah.
But
this is making fun of everybody. This movie is.
Yeah. If everybody's getting made fun of, then there ain't anything racist or bad about it, in my opinion. But I'll give you Dumb and Dumber because that, again, was right up there with those other two for me. Dumb and Dumber was what I initially wrote down, but for sake of argument, I swapped over to Blazing Saddles. I do have Dumb and Dumber in my extras list anyway for must go in.
Yes.
Honestly,
Yes.
Of this fantastic list we've put together, Dumb and Dumber is probably top 3. In my opinion, for am I going to pick a movie off this list to watch?
It's top 2. It's Saving Private Ryan and then Dumb and Dumber for me.
Yeah.
Then after that, it gets a little more hazy, but there's a lot of movies I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe that one. I don't even know what I'd go with after that. Probably Dark Knight. I don't know. But all right, there's our 10. Dumb and Dumber lands the last spot, the comedy. There's our top 10 there. And we did that in a pretty reasonable amount of time. So now we have 15 more we're going to put in to get us to a 25. We'll pick our movies and then try to place them in one of these categories. Now, there is no set number for anything. I do want to do one more franchise at least. Maybe 2 more. No, just one more, and then we'll let everybody else pick them. So we're going to pick 15 more. Then we're going to let you, the listeners, pick 5. We'll put up a poll with some of the leftovers that we have here. But every one of these, I think, is easily a Hall of Fame movie. But is it first ballot Hall of Fame? We're not going to be idiots here and not vote for Babe Ruth like somebody did back in the day. That's why some of these have to get in there. But so with what I'll start with the ones we nominated but didn't make it. Jurassic Park in
100%.
100%. Yeah. Great sci-fi. What's funny is it's great sci-fi as well. Like, it's not, it's a blockbuster, but there's a lot of very serious things like Jeff Goldblum doing your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think whether or not they should. I mean, it's like something you think about, especially with another movie I'm going to nominate here for this, but have you seen some of these? Have you seen the metal robots that they're putting into people now to pull out tumors and things?
No, I haven't seen that.
There's a goo that reminds me a lot of the T-1000 that can move through your body with magnets. You use magnets to move it, and it will wrap around and pull something out if it needs to. And it's just little nanobots, basically.
Great.
Yeah, great. And also Russia's.
I mean, they're already
AI.
That and the how about the kid getting his freaking finger broke?
Yeah, by the chest machine.
That's enough. Let's just shut it down at this point.
Yeah. Have we not learned our lesson? But yeah, Jurassic Park definitely in there. So there's one.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to bold that. I don't know. One down. We already have Dark Knight. Tombstone, I'll throw it in for sure.
Yeah.
Original.
I'm not letting it.
All-timer. Okay. All-timer. All-timer just for Val Kilmer. That's because that's an all-time character. I'll put him in there for Doc Holliday and for anything. Blazing Saddles. I'm more on the edge on this one for being a first ballot one. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
It's up there though. Lion King.
Wait.
Yes.
Yeah, Lion King.
Automatic. There's 3. Smokey and the Bandit. Dude, this is where it gets. This is where it gets hard.
Yeah, but that's a personal guilty pleasure if I'm putting it into.
Yeah.
I
think it's out right now.
Okay, and it can be. That's just
I had an idea at the beginning of this, and I forgot to say it, that we both have veto power for one movie if we just like despise it, that it just doesn't go in. I don't despise Michigan Bandit, but I would use my. Well, no, never mind. I have another one you have on here that's definitely got my veto. Got something to do with all your background nastiness there.
Oh, please.
That's what I'm saving the veto for. 7. I'll go with 7. I'll roll with that.
7's good. It's a good.
7's good, and I think they're all in their appropriate categories as well.
Yeah.
So another one in the drama with Tombstone, Blockbuster, Jurassic Park, Family with Lion King, and 7 for the scary shit. Kevin Spacey, amazing.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman, amazing. Brad Pitt, he's not great in that movie, I don't think, but he's a little over.
No, but
he went with Nick Cage on there. He went full Nick Cage on us a bit.
I love some Brad Pitt though. I'll watch Brad Pitt all day.
But they did cut off Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
They did. He did. It's in the box.
It is in the box. It is.
Spoiler alert. If nobody sees
okay, if you haven't seen a 20-year-old movie, that's on you, bro.
Yeah, well.
25? Was that 1995? Something like that? It's old.
Yeah, I don't even know.
That's some young Brad Pitt there.
Yeah.
That's like Fight Club-ish Brad Pitt. It might be a little bit later.
Speaking of Fight Club, I think that needs to be in here. It's on my list.
You want to start that?
Oh, wait. What are we doing? Just doubling up?
No, we're done with that now. So we added 4. So now we got 11 more to go. Let's do the extra franchise first, and then we'll go to the movies. So here's just some I'm throwing at you. I think I know what we're gonna pick, but maybe not. Star Wars, obvious one. Besides the MCU, commercially the second most successful movie franchise there is by a lot. And the original trilogy is all-time great. We obviously have one of them in already. May put another one in. Obviously the sequels, though, well, the prequels, depends on, I don't know. What's funny is prequels were not super well received coming out and not super well liked by original trilogy people. They are loved by the people that grew up with them. Loved. I'm a little bit too old to be that, but
that's more me. I mean, we're not that different, but that couple years makes. I remember going to the theaters. Went to the theaters disappointed with 2. I love Revenge of the Sith. I've told you that for years. I give that the dialogue's garbage, but as far as
we had a vote for that in this to be in the original 25.
Jason.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Wrong.
There's at least 4 other Star Wars movies that I would probably put, but I think us, like our generation and then memes have saved the prequels.
The memes have definitely saved the prequels. Yeah.
I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
It does.
Man, George Lucas, you are a modern Shakespeare.
George can't write.
George is a world. George is a world builder.
Just points and says, "Make this work." And
George is a world builder. All right, that's what he does. He builds worlds. He doesn't write dialogue.
Did you happen to watch the ILM documentary?
The Senate.
What was that?
The ILM documentary on.
I have
Disney
not yet. I have
Plus.
not. I actually was listening
Very
to your favorite Star Wars podcast the other day, and they were talking about it next. They were at not Skywalker Ranch. What's the Rancho
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Rancho Obi-Wan. Yeah, and they were talking about that documentary. I was like, oh, that actually sounds like might be up my alley.
There's one on Vice too, and it's pretty good. They actually have George's ex-wife, first ever sit-down interview with her. It's pretty good.
All right. After Star Wars, for our nomination here for the other franchise, I have Lord of the Rings franchise. I guess we'll throw in the Hobbit stuff with that, although meh. But the original trilogy, none of them miss at all. They're all Hall of Fame movies. I think they're the only one I would put all three in the Hall of Fame for any of these. Maybe not. I might put Return of the Jedi as well. But I think the second one, Two Towers, is the best, and that's probably my top 10 all time. The battle at Helm's Deep is that might be the second best battle actually, ahead of Endgame even.
Yeah, I'd give you that.
That is a great battle when they show up and when the orcs are screaming in the rain. You're like, oh man, shit is going down right now. Great soundtrack too. I have the
save.
Yeah. It's a huge save. Look to the east. I have the Rocky franchise minus Rocky 5. Rocky 5 might knock it out. It's actually Rocky 5 does knock it out of being in contention at all. But it doesn't exist. I hope most of you didn't know it existed until I just said that. Tommy Morrison.
This is not the Rocky you want to watch.
No. But great movies. Rocky 1 and 2 are all-timers. Rocky 3 and 4 are all-timers in the more nostalgia category where I'm watching it if it's on, but I know it's not a good movie.
I'm ready to go fight Russia anytime I watch 4. Let's go.
I mean, why haven't we dusted off Sly and went and sent him to end this mess in Ukraine? He ended one war. He ended the Cold War the first time. He can do it again.
Because, if you can change and I can change, then we can all change.
Maybe we all can change. I got the Harry Potter franchise because while I don't think I haven't seen all of them, to be upfront. Harry Potter's never been my huge thing. My wife loves it. My daughter is going to love it. My brother loves it. Everybody I know loves it. You love it. But the movies themselves aren't necessarily like pieces of art. But I did really enjoy the Goblet of Fire, the fourth one. I thought was really good. But I'd say I think it just fits more as just a franchise, something you would put in rather than one singular movie. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it would be a franchise. It's definitely a franchise, but obviously not an original franchise. I mean, Lord of the Rings is kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. Where I think the only reason that's a franchise is because there's multiple books.
Yes, that's true.
Like, but it's got to be that way. Like, I think if there was just one Harry Potter movie at any random point during the story, it's not anywhere what it is without
nonsensical.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, like Wizard's great. It's Sorcerer's Apprentice, Nick Cage.
It's
about the fourth time we've brought him up.
Oh, he's.
Can we get a Cage count in the top corner?
I wish. He's my guilty pleasure king. Like, that's the man I watch.
Oh yeah.
When I'm flipping channels, him and Sly. It's him and Sly. I don't know.
Gone in 60 Seconds. Great. If it's on TV, I'm watching it. Love it.
Con Air, The Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock, the worst acting maybe in history by him, but damn it, I love that movie. Face Off is him and John Travolta trying to be each other. Can't go wrong there. Two great actors.
Yeah.
And then I have the Dark Knight trilogy as well. As a whole, I mean, I don't think any of them. Obviously, Dark Knight's an all-timer on its own. The other two, I think, are good, not great movies.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises probably it's a little too close to Dark Knight, to be honest. Like, they're kind of doing the same thing, but this time with
it's
nukes.
It's just a continuation. I think I think we're both on the same page where you have to go with Star Wars because there's, as bad as some of the content is, it's outweighed on the other side by how good the rest of it is. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
the original trilogy, I personally, because it ties into Skywalker's saga, you could sprinkle Rogue One.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah.
Which Rogue One needs to be on our all-timer list, in my opinion.
Okay. We'll talk about that, but that not because it's going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point. Maybe not this time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
I mean, I think out of let's say 10 movies, if you're throwing Solo and Rogue One on there,
That's 11.
you got 11? 9. Yeah. No, 9.
9 plus 2.
11.
Math is hard.
It is. They know, learn to be good. But I mean, out of the 11, you have probably at least 4 borderline all-timers, in my opinion. With original trilogy or Rogue One would be kind of how I would break that up.
I think when I made my, I think you could get up to, well, we'll talk about it at some point in the Star Wars thing. I think Force Awakens could have been in this if it weren't for what came after it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But I think I had 4 of them, including Rogue One. The Rogue One and the original trilogy I had. When I made this list to start out, I narrowed it down from about 175 movies that I automatically was like, yep, in. And I think I had the 3 original and Rogue One in.
Yeah. Rogue One's. I think you include that in with those. So you're looking at 11. But I got to go Star Wars for next franchise. I mean,
I'm with you. MCU and Star Wars. If you think of the 2 best franchises ever,
honestly,
go watch Aliens. That's what we can do. We can build Death Stars.
If I would go 3, I would probably go Harry Potter over Lord of the Rings.
Interesting. That is interesting. I'd probably
anytime TNT's doing the Harry Potter weekend, I'll stop on it for a minute.
That's going to be up for their fans to vote on there for sure, because we're going to have them put in one more franchise. So it'll be probably
Lord of the Rings is there, but I'm never gonna.
It's long.
It's long. If I'm gonna sit down and watch a long movie, it's gonna be Tombstone or Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, great movies. I'm not arguing the greatness of Lord of the Rings, but
yeah. Okay, so we got Star Wars. We're now at 15 total, five including the extra franchise. So now out of these next about 30 I got here that we had lots of votes for, or just our movies that we picked. I'll start with A New Hope and Rogue One. Now they're obviously Hall of Famers. I'd like to put a more balanced version here for the first Hall of Fame. But I'm not against putting in more so we already have Empire Strikes Back and the Star Wars franchise. Actually, of those 2, I'd probably go with Rogue One. I think I'm with you. New Hope's a great movie, but it's it's sort of lacking because it's trying to build stuff. It's lacking in some action it's really an adventure movie. I asked you this, the reason we don't have a sci-fi category is because sci-fi can fall into so many other categories because they're not all the same. And I started with asking you, is it a sci-fi movie? Because there's not a lot of sci-fi elements, especially to the first one, besides it being futuristic. But there's not a lot of beyond just the good versus bad, light versus dark. There's not the greater questions.
Western sci-fi opera epic.
Yeah. Ooh.
It touches all the bases. I agree with Rogue One over New Hope.
Okay, I'm putting a pin in it for now. If we pick 10 others, I'm good. But if we decide Rogue One just has to be in over him, which I think we might, because we might do this with another pair of movies. I'll bring them up next. Infinity War and Endgame. Actually, we didn't put Endgame in earlier. We should have done that. Endgame's in from when we didn't do it earlier. Yeah, Endgame's in. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. I think Infinity War is better, but Endgame's in for sure. And since you had it up there, we'll do that. We'll put a pin in Infinity War though, because like I said, I think it's the best MCU movie.
Yeah, I mean, I give it
snap happening.
Very, very close second.
You have a lot of the same. I mean, it's very much a similar movie. The reason, the reason I like it more is once you get into bigger concepts that are so big that it just breaks your mind. Not even breaks your mind. It's just not something you can really grasp, which is time travel and universe jumping and things like that. Once you start getting there, you kind of lose me a little bit. Obviously, Endgame, though, ended so well that wipes anything like that away. Like, once that music hits and they come through the portals, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Your boy's ready to go attack the screen and punch the guy next to him.
About the only thing close to that is actually in Infinity War when Thor shows up.
That's true.
When Thor hits, it's a very similar feeling.
It is. Beyond the one problem I have is the Hulk's very cheesy. Oh, you guys are in trouble now.
Yeah, I like that. I laugh at that.
It seems like something you would
like. I say that, and I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my list, and I did jot down Deadpool.
I have it on here, and that was our date movie of all date movies.
It was Valentine's Day, just the two of us. But that's another, in my opinion, like character piece. That's another Tombstone. That's another Dark Knight, because Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, and it's a perfect casting for that character. Like those three, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. Like there's a select maybe 6-7 people in the history of film that have played it, and a lot of them are in the MCU. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. Like.
Yep, perfect.
You can't. Which is why MCU's been so successful. I mean, you could even say Chris Evans as Captain America. I mean, you could get another clean cut, muscle guy. But
true. I mean,
the original. That's why it did so well, because they casted it so perfectly from the get. Well, other than Incredible Hulk, but
we'll just move on. From that.
Yeah. But I think Edward Norton probably could have been a great Bruce Banner if they would have kept running with it. I don't know the story of what happened with that.
I'm not a huge Mark Ruffalo guy either, so I probably would have liked that more. But not putting Deadpool in yet either, though.
No.
But I mean, it's a maybe. I mean, I loved it. I loved when we went and saw that. That was hilarious. Mike's wife. He texted me. He goes, "You want to go see Deadpool tonight?" I'm like, "Isn't it Valentine's Day? Don't you have something to do?" And he's like, "No, she's okay with it. She just wants to stay home with the kids."
we had already went out for dinner, and her mom was there with the kids, and I'm like, "Well, you want to go do anything else?" She goes, "No." I'm like, "Well, I'm calling Matt. We're going to movies."
This is when I was still single and ready to go see movies with other men on Valentine's Day.
It was advertised as a love story. So
yeah, it was. Okay. Next one I'm going to go with. So next one's going to be in, because it was when we polled, it was one of the highest as well. Shawshank.
Yeah.
Redemption.
Yep.
You're always rooting for Andy Dufresne. That goes in the Academy category. Obviously, Endgame goes in the superhero. Shawshank, all timer. You're rooting for him the whole time. It's very, a movie that'll make you laugh and cry too. Maybe not cry, but feel a knot in the pit of your stomach as you see the things that go on in prison that people love to reference now. And the warden is still extremely hateable.
Yep.
Big piece of crap. Yep. And Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins, both all-time great performances. And Andy's crawling through the shit at the end, man. You're so jacked.
Man, you brought up Robbins, and I get another comedy we should have done a sports movie category.
I thought about that. I did, but this is, since I'm the one that made this Hall of Fame idea up, I generally don't like sports movies, so I think they fall in the family category well enough for the most part. Family or drama, depending on the one, whichever, or nostalgia. I think nostalgia is actually a lot of.
Like you say, you brought up Robbins, and I immediately thought of Bull Durham.
Bull Durham, yeah. I just think
That's
of
what I mean.
Anchorman. Let's go fight. Stunningly enough, nobody picked Anchorman. I'm pretty sure. I thought that would have happened with our
I don't have it on here.
demographic. I did not. Even though it's a Hall of Fame movie for me, but not first ballot at all. So now we're up to 7.
I have my other comedy that I'm gonna fight for. Right, that isn't Blazing Saddles or
Okay.
Spaceballs.
All right, let's go ahead. Go ahead.
Caddyshack.
Maybe I have to use the veto on this one. I do like Caddyshack.
I love it.
And I do like Carl
Everything about
Spackler. Carl Spackler is hilarious.
Yeah.
Bill Murray's character.
Ty Webb, Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're all good. They are all good.
And
I'll let you fight for this one.
Working in a golf course, how perfect is Judge Schmales
He's
in the way he acts?
He is.
It's perfect.
I still work at one, so I'm not going to say too much. But
I work at multiple.
Yeah.
No, it's a perfect stereotype playing of that.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I'll let you throw in Caddyshack. It's an all-time. It was highly voted on as well. Obviously, with who our group of friends is, it's not surprising. It is a hilarious movie, especially from the 80s. Gets us also spread around a little bit. You put that comedy or nostalgia? I'll probably go comedy on that one. That's straight comedy.
Yeah.
It's pretty much all a joke too. There's also a lot of downtime in it for me.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the downtime comes from the movie was supposed to be about the caddies.
Yeah,
but all the supplemental characers
they're what's funny.
Well.
They're what's funny.
Nobody gave a shit about Danny Noonan. It was all Spackler and Webb and.
Yeah. Well, we're waiting.
They didn't bank on Chevy Chase and Bill Murray being as good as they were, which was just really just dumb.
All right, I'm gonna pop in 2 here, and I think we have to pick one of the first two Godfather movies. And I'm maybe off here, but I'm more a fan of the original. They're both long, and they're both have very slow parts, but very awesome parts. But the end of the first Godfather, when Michael sends out, is getting his baby baptized, or getting his sister's baby baptized, or his baby? Either way. Getting the baby baptized while they take revenge on everyone who has wronged his family with the organ music playing is it's the 70s version of In Game where you're like, oh crap, here we go. And you have a lot of great actors and great performances, and it's kind of fun. The older movies with the lack of sound in the background that is now constant. You watch older movies versus now, that's the biggest thing you're gonna notice is they're so much quieter. They're so much quieter. And that's when I actually enjoy it though, for the most part, because it just brings a level of tension to what's going on around them. Even though you don't see a lot of the action, you just feel it. Godfather 2.
I'm with you on that.
Godfather 2.
Yeah. I'm not I don't watch them all the time. I've seen them, but it's not but I understand they have to be on the list.
Yeah. They are.
There's
all-time greats.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put them in the Academy category. I believe they both won Best Picture. But so we're just putting Godfather in there this time because, like I said, one little spreading it out of everything. We'll talk a couple. We'll switch gears completely. I had Shrek and Toy Story. Do either of those do anything for you?
Love Shrek. I think Shrek 2 is better than the original Shrek.
It's good. I have them both in the overall.
Love Toy Story. That's right in my wheelhouse. Like I remember going seeing that in theaters with a group of friends, and we're like riding back. Like, I think our toys are like up messing around right now.
That is one of the first movies I saw without my family. Was Toy Story. Ironically, it's pretty a family movie, but.
And I will say this, as far as movies that choke you up every single time is Toy Story 3 when they're sliding down into that furnace.
Uh-huh.
And they all hold their hands. I'm like, well, what the hell? Like, even
what are you doing
like,
to me?
I'm sitting there watching it with my kids. I'm 34 years old, and I'm like, are you crying? No, I'm fine. There's just dust in my eye.
There's a lot of onions in here. Your mom must be cooking.
Yeah. I'm either one. Like you said, Shrek, I would argue that Shrek 2 is better, but as far as Toy Story, you will get no argument from me for Toy Story.
We might go Toy Story then, because also it was the first of the new wave of animation, the 3D. Yeah. It kind of changed the game there. Obviously, great performances from Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, R.I.P. Yep. But he's not dead yet, is he? Just his career. Didn't even consult him on Lightyear.
In his sense of smell.
Yeah. He's got a little something there. I don't know.
Lightyear wasn't bad. I didn't mind Lightyear.
I still haven't got around to seeing it. This 6-month-old makes things tricky. We watch. It takes like a week to watch one movie for us.
Oh yeah.
I wish I had. All right. So Toy Story's in. We're at 20 now. You want Fight Club?
Yeah.
I don't have an argument against it. It's a great movie. You're gonna have fun. It's almost I almost would put it in the nostalgia. I think that is what I put in it.
Good little twist in it too. You know. I also have Inception sitting here. Do you have how many people threw out Inception?
I think we had it hit the mark as well as one of the top ones. I love Inception. It's one of the it's the Chris Nolan's original masterpiece, not using Batman. Everything else he's done has been a little more Interstellar. Somebody was fighting very hard for Interstellar when I talked to them about it, but it just gets too off the rails for me at the end. A little too much going on once they go into that black hole. But up to that point, it's amazing. But Inception, just the whole thing, like you're in some serious sci-fi action, everything, and it's done at a high level.
And I didn't think of this when I was putting this list together, and I cannot believe that it is not on my original list. But just speaking of that, is The Matrix, the original Matrix.
Yeah, it's definitely Hall of Famer, but I don't have it for original. It's really good. It just doesn't hit the same level of her Inception as me. As I'm not thinking too hard about it. It's a little similar to another movie. We'll just talk Terminator 2 right now is one of mine.
That's got to be in there.
Yeah, I think it's in. But
I mean, even if that just simply goes to the action, like it's
everything about it. Action.
It's
what they're talking about, especially when they finally take a little break.
That's another one that holds up. And when you think about how that holds up, you need to watch this ILM documentary because they talk about making the T-2000 and like how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was Willow had the shape-shifting scene, and then it kind of progressed to in the abyss, like the water snake, and then the T-2000, and then it progressed to dinosaurs. Like that was the natural progression of CGI is how it went. You really can't do much better than T2. I'm actually surprised. I think I had that written down on my little sheet and scribbled it a couple times just to make room for some other stuff because I knew that would come up because it's that good.
It's if I think of real sci-fi, that might be the one that hits, because the big question that, like we just said, it's still facing us today, right in the face, and we're just like, no, what happened there? I mean, it's a movie, whatever, but seriously, this could happen.
Because we've made these little robot dogs, and our first inclination as humans is like, hey, let's put a freaking assault rifle on that thing.
Let's put a gun on it.
Okay.
We have all those nukes. We are making AI that, hey, Google's got an employee claiming that it is self-aware and should be allowed the freedom of religion. No joke. That happened. But yeah, T2 is definitely in. We're at 22 now if we have Inception. So Inception, we're throwing in probably a blockbuster. I don't know if it's a blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's just a drama.
Yeah, it might just be drama.
It might just go in the catch-all.
Yeah.
T2 is Blockbuster for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That can go in there. We have mentioned I am up for debate on what to put in, but I think Quentin Tarantino needs to be in our top 25 at some.
I was literally about to move us there. It's like you're looking at my screen right now because I have them all grouped together. So there's 4 Tarantino movies that have to be discussed.
Yes, and I think
I'm not sure we're gonna. I think we're gonna pick one. I think I know which one we're gonna pick, but I'll see if I'm right. Because I think we're gonna argue about this one. So the 4 you have to discuss. You have to discuss Reservoir Dogs just because it's the original and it changed film a lot. Like if you take a film class, you're gonna learn about Reservoir Dogs. You are, because he changed the way like that opening shot at the table is so unique. When they're just circling around talking about tipping, with all the colors.
Mike Madsen almost ruined that song for me because that's all I ever think about when I hear "Stuck in the Middle with You" is him ripping a guy's ear off and
hear what?
dousing
I can't hear it. I don't know how I can't hear it. Then
except for the fact that nobody shot Nice Guy Eddie. The biggest movie bloopers of all time.
Then Pulp Fiction. Which is my favorite. Everything. See, is it too all over the place for you, or what do you think?
I put that in Reservoir Dogs in a very similar category. I personally would rather watch some of the newer Tarantino stuff than those ones.
Oh man!
Like even ahead of both of those, I'm going. My 4 was now. I still have yet to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I'm kicking myself for it because
it's fine, but it's lower end for him. It's like too much.
My 4 are the Kill Bills, Django, and Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, I didn't have the Kill Bills on here, but that's definitely. I mean, all of these are probably going to be in our Hall of Fame if we keep doing this over the years, which we will. Whether or not I don't care if anybody's listening. I'm enjoying.
It's just us.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it too much.
And fuck you, we haven't talked in a while. So,
so Django and Inglourious. So I think the one I thought we would end up putting is Inglourious Bastards.
If that's the one that we overlap on, I think that's the one that needs to go.
It's my second favorite behind Pulp Fiction. Pulp's just got a little more. I like the jumping around the timeline. There's not a lot of movies that I do like that. It works out pretty well in that movie. I think it's one of Travolta's best performances, where I kind of believe in the character. Winston Wolfe is one of my all-time favorite characters. We got lots of what's going on there.
I was doing the Lost Travolta.
Yeah. Oh, that's
poorly, but I was doing. I do love Django, but Django more is. It's not throughout the whole thing. It has a lot of really good parts to it. Where like Inglourious Bastards, I like the whole movie.
Yeah, the whole movie's good.
Waltz, like in Inglourious Bastards, one of those ones where right from the beginning, like there is so much tension in that first scene that just sets the whole thing off.
Oh man, it's wonderful.
The fighting in the basement scene, like where he figures them out, like there's so much to it.
Mm-hmm.
But Django,
that's a bingo.
Django has a top 5 funniest movie moment for me, and that's when Don Johnson and they're messing with the hoods.
Yes.
I piss myself laughing every time I see that. Make your damn bags.
My wife spent a lot of time working on these.
So I hear he's criticize.
Inglourious Bastards. One you can see a lot of Nazis getting killed. That's always good.
Yeah.
And getting some swastikas carved into their foreheads by Brad Pitt. Aldo the Apache.
Yeah.
His Italian accent. That was like a George Bush that just came out of me. I don't know what happened, but
Gorlami.
Yeah. And also, I mean, what I love about that movie, but it gets me into these other movies now, always thinking about it when somebody remakes a historical movie that is a little bit different. Obviously, them killing Hitler brutally in the theater is fantastic. It just makes the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yay, death.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm glad we agreed on that one. That one could have got a little more heated than it was, but I just thought Tarantino had to be in there somewhere.
I'd put everything but Jackie Brown and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and
I still haven't seen Jackie Brown.
The not Crazy Eight. What is it? Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
I wasn't too stoked on that one in the end. Too much.
What's your thoughts on Death Proof, like the double feature with him and?
I'll take Death Proof over all those movies I just mentioned, but I wouldn't put it in the Hall of Fame. But
no, I wouldn't either. I was just getting your Tarantino take here.
I enjoyed it. Well, I liked the whole idea that they had with the double feature.
Yeah.
That was probably at the height of my like fanboyism for Tarantino too, though. That's what I like.
Kurt Russell's coming back.
Because right after the Kill Bill, and that's like I had seen bits and pieces of other movies, but Kill Bill was the first one I saw in theaters. So then I watched all of his movies, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then he's coming out with another one, and it's very entertaining. Like it's a high drama going on the whole time. But it's not Hall of Fame.
No.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and veto Rudy now. You can make your case, but it's vetoed. Boo Notre Dame.
He's going to be sad. He's right there.
Yeah, good.
I won't argue with it because we don't really have any other sports movies on here. So
we had Tin Cup. Tin Cup had another vote as well.
I can't put Tin Cup. Like, if we were doing a sports movie strict list, it would have to be on there, but not for a top 25.
Right.
Type thing. No.
We also had, this one could be Sandlot. That's nostalgia. That's nostalgia.
Yeah, definitely nostalgia.
But it's definitely, for people our age, I think a lot of people would have that on their list. But I'm not so sure if I put that in or put in another either Infinity War or Rogue One over that. So we're down to like 2 spots.
Yeah.
It can be. I think I put that up for vote.
Yeah.
From
definitely
our listeners here.
I mean that whole our whole generation had just great little sports movies like Little Giants, fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Little Giants is fantastic. Mean Green,
Rookie of the Year, Mean Green. I mean, I think Sandlot takes the cake for
easily,
but there's a lot of good content there.
Killing me,
Rookie of the Year is great. You heat up the ice cubes. It's hot ice.
Also, Daniel Stern. Marv running around.
Yeah, Brigma's fantastic. Gets stuck in between the hotel room doors.
Let's go between the two here, and we're going to pick one for our 24th movie, Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs.
Oh my god.
So you picked Blazing Saddles. You're probably a bigger I love Mel Brooks, but you're a bigger fan than me of Mel Brooks. But
I would almost do Blazing Saddles because it's a spoof, but there's original content there. Not that there's not in Spaceballs, but Spaceballs is the perfect spoof. Period. When are we?
We're now.
Spaceballs is the perfect spoof, but I think if I'm going with a Mel Brooks movie, Blazing Saddles would be my vote. Young Frankenstein would be 3.
Mm-hmm.
Just sprinkling a third in there.
Sprinkle third. I'll just make The First Naked Gun the unofficial third of that movie, even though it's not Mel Brooks. But the spoof movies.
Yeah.
Man, I'm pro Spaceballs a lot because it makes fun of our favorite thing in such a perfect way, and Rick Moranis is such a perfect dark helmet.
The whole casting of Spaceballs is great.
Yeah, John Candy. Oh, it's combing the desert. I was trying to explain this to
Man,
Jason
we
the other
ain't
day.
found shit. I see.
Can I
Like,
convince you to go Spaceballs here? Because I think I'm
you
leaning
can, because
still.
it's 1A and 1B for me.
I'm kicking out Rogue One and New Hope then, though, because that's the unofficial Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
At
Still waiting
24.
for Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money.
I mean, Disney would make it if it's going to happen. It's going to be Disney. The mouse does not. He wants to jump in Scrooge McDuck's vault.
The mouse likes the cash.
All right. So we're taking out Rogue One in that. So we still have Infinity War for the 25. Infinity War versus. I have Silence of the Lambs still and Titanic. Silence of the Lambs is all timer. Not Titanic. I mean, Titanic's.
I will veto.
That's almost
Titanic.
nostalgia. Okay, you can veto Titanic. I'm okay with that. It's more the last 45 minutes of Titanic when people are bouncing off propellers. It's hot.
Yeah, but I mean, do you really want to sit there for
3 hours?
2 hours and 15 minutes to get to that? I mean, me some Leo, but
Kate Winslet's not looking too bad in that movie.
No. Didn't share a door though. Kind of a dick move at the end.
That's very dick move. What about Silence of the Lambs?
Love Silence of the Lambs. You can see that in there because we do kind of need another thriller-ish type of thing, I think.
Yeah. I think I'm leaning towards putting Infinity War in, to be honest.
You're not going to get argument with me. Yeah, I just didn't know how.
Oh, we also have the Departed. We also have The Departed here.
I do like The Departed, and if that came up a lot, I could be. Do we have any Scorsese?
We don't. I only have one other of his movies, I think, in mine out of that 175, which is Gangs in New York.
Oh no, I don't know how I didn't think of it. That might be. I love
Gangs in New York is. That is a long movie too.
But if I had to choose between that and The Departed, I'm going to set out Gangs in New York.
Actually, I'm with you on that.
Daniel Day-Lewis is. That's another character piece. Like Bill the Butcher isn't the main character in that movie, but makes the movie.
Yeah, we didn't actually have this in our list at all, but I think I'm going to go with it.
I didn't have it either, and I
with
don't know
Gangs in New York out of nowhere. I mean, I think it was in both of our overalls, but
it wasn't in mine. I didn't have it written up.
Wild card, baby.
Yeah. Yep. I'm all for that because, like I said, I don't know how I blanked on it in the first place.
All right, so our 25. Let me count this and make sure we're right here. So we'll go with our categories first. Blockbuster, Empire Strikes Back, Academy, Forrest Gump, drama, Saving Private Ryan, comedy, Dumb and Dumber, family, Greatest Showman, nostalgia, Home Alone, action, John Wick, scary shit, Halloween, superhero, Dark Knight, MCU franchise, Star Wars franchise, that's 11. Endgame, superhero, 12, 7, 13, Lion King, 14, Tombstone, 15, Jurassic Park, 16, Shawshank, 17, Endgame, 18, Godfather, 19, Terminator 2, 20, Toy Story, 21, Spaceballs, 22, Fight Club, 23, Inception, 24, Inglourious Bastards, 25. No Games in New York. It's out. It's on the chopping block now. What are we moving out?
What was the last 5?
Inception, Fight Club, Inglourious Bastards, Spaceballs, and Toy Story. That's 5.
I would be willing, because we put Spaceballs in there, both agreed on it, to concede Caddyshack. Is Caddyshack on the list?
Yeah, Caddyshack.
I would be willing to concede Caddyshack off of the list for Gangs of New York, as much as I love Caddyshack. I think Gangs of New York will give the list a little less comedy, if that makes sense. I think it hits more overall movie notes than Caddyshack.
Hold on. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
We need
23,
a producer.
24.
Since
We do.
episode's
We do.
getting a
This is the first
producer on
episode.
this
This is the first
shit.
episode. I think we're at 26, but you know what? F it. We're going 26.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. I'm fine with the 2. And we'll let everybody else kind of vote between the leftovers to get us to 30.
Yeah.
We'll go 31 then, since we did it. F it. Top
Yeah,
31. Why? Because we screwed up.
It's all good.
Maybe we'll go to 35. I don't know. We'll do it. We'll do what we want. This is a brand new thing. This is our first ever podcast. I think we did a good job.
My hot podcast, I'll do what I want.
I do what I want. Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to get on you.
It's the Highlander. It's a movie. Any good? Very good. It won the Academy Award. Oh, for what? For best movie ever made.
I think that's pretty much can be the summary of how we just did this podcast.
Well, now we got to rank what we got.
Gotta rank it. Oh, that's too hard. That's too hard.
Impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Without categories, it's impossible.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Mike.
It is.
It is. All right. Well, I think that was a pretty successful first podcast here. You got any other thoughts before we move on? I think I'm going to try and have you on again for the preview this Notre Dame football game with our Buckeyes.
Yep.
That you'll actually be in C-Deck. You'll actually have a C-Deck?
Yeah, I do. Actually, we'll be in C-Deck.
Mm-hmm. So just living up to the name of the podcast. Didn't even know it. Didn't even know it yet.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
I wasn't
on. Consulted on name of said podcast. Wish you could see touching on Jesus. Oh, there you go.
No. He looks like a spaceship Jesus there.
You should have seen it. You should have seen it before I put the spotlight on his face. Real creepy, sitting on the couch with shady Jesus face behind you.
Oh God. All right. Well, that's been it. If you're watching us on YouTube, drop a comment, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. Wherever you're getting the podcast, if you're listening to it, give us a review, give us a like, tell us how stupid we are, especially since we can't count to 25. I did a practice run on a podcast for something else. I'm like, you got to write stuff down, Matt. And I wrote stuff down, but since I wanted it to be organic, I didn't know what we were going to have.
I had your list and my list. That's all I had. In a Miller Lite.
You should. Yeah. I'm about to have about 3 Trulies now.
There you go.
All right. Well, we'll see you all on the next show.
Hey, guys. Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man's world.